it was really helpful. It moved people along. It got you guys over some speed bumps, you know, that weren't quite as big as you thought they were, right? Okay. So we're going to try and build in time for that next time as well. Right now what I want to do is kind of blow through some of this legal stuff with you and try to keep it as interesting as I possibly can. So a lot of you guys have been asking questions about legal structures. How many of you guys are already incorporated? I think I asked you this earlier. Is anybody incorporated, or is anybody filed an LLC? Nobody.
No.
We're in the process.
You're in the process. Of which one?
Of becoming incorporated.
Okay. So you're incorporated in Rhode Island?
What does that mean?
Okay. We're going to do that. So let's look at this choice of legal entity sheet. It's got a front and a back. The front has the holes on the left. So here's the thing. You know how we talked all about that that business about limiting your liability and protecting yourself in case somebody comes after you and sues the company? So there's two mechanisms that we do that with. They're legal mechanisms that happen at the state level. So they happen for you guys in Massachusetts or Rhode Island. And usually co-ops use one of two different kinds of forms. They use either a corporation or an LLC to give them that liability protection, okay? And so those are the two that we're going to talk about today, the corporation and the LLC. It's probably going to be one or the other of those that you guys end up using. So you probably want to be one or the other of these. That's what protects you from individual liability. If you haven't formed one of these, by default, you're already operating as a partnership. It's not illegal to operate as a partnership. It's totally fine. But it doesn't have that liability protection for you. So if somebody comes after you, you're wide open and exposed for all of your summer homes in Florida and your multiple cars and boats to all, go away if someone sees you. Okay, so we don't want that to happen. We don't want to keep our cars and boats. So I'm going to go over the different features of corporations and LLCs in the most entertaining way I can possibly think of to do. So the first thing, there's not a right answer to this. Some people pick LLCs, some people pick corporations. There's good reasons for doing it both ways. So I'm going to give you the reasons on one or the other side, and it's fine to do it either way. Just keep that in mind. So a corporation, so let's see, the track record is the first item we're going to talk about. Corporation has a longer track record. Corporations have been around, anybody know when the first corporations were formed?
Civil War.
1920s? Early. Huh?
1700s?
I think it was, what did you say, Matt? I can't give you an exact date, but I'm pretty sure that it was like the original corporations were like the charters that the English people settled this country on. They were given corporate charters by England, I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty old.
So
it's pretty old.
They had charters in merry old England, so they may go back before that.
Yeah, it definitely derives from an older form. So the form of a corporation has been around for a long time. Especially, it's a very American kind of thing. We love this in America. Our whole government is based on it. The LLC is a relatively new thing. The LLC only came around in the 1990s. So it's much, much newer. It's a more flexible form. It's a more flexible form, and a lot of people like it for that. But it also, one of the drawbacks to it is that they're still figuring out the laws about what it actually means. So there's a lot of gray areas in LLC. Not so much, but more than corporations. So the second, this is much faster. Do I have time to do this at all? Yes. So how to create the corporation and an LLC. They're both very easy to create. You can do it on your state's website. Actually, most of what I know, I've never incorporated a Rhode Island corporation, so I don't know about this. You can do it online, or you can fax in your documents. You file physical papers with the state. Usually the what do you call it? The Secretary of the Commonwealth. That's the office that governs corporations. In Massachusetts, we have a statute called 157A. It's Chapter 157A of Massachusetts General Laws that gives us a statute that is a worker-owned cooperative. Rhode Island doesn't have this, but it's totally fine. We used to think the 157A started in the 80s, in the 1980s, because we thought we needed it. Then LLCs came along, and it kind of seemed like everybody could be an LLC if they wanted to. You can also be a corporation. It's all fine. Governing documents, LLCs have operating agreements, bylaws, corporations have bylaws. They're basically the same thing. They're the document that defines whether you're a cooperative or not. So either way, you have to do one or the other. You keep those with yourself. You don't have to file that with the state, at least not in Massachusetts. I don't know about Rhode Island. Owners as employees, this is an important thing. If you form an employee-owned worker cooperative corporation, you guys are all employees of the corporation. And being an employee has rights that are associated with it. So whenever people fight for employment rights, they're talking about their rights as employees. So your rights, what is a right that you have as an employee? Minimum wage. It's right? Breaks. Yeah. You're protected with all sorts of stuff. Unemployment insurance, workers' comp. All that stuff is mandatory if you are an employee. If you are the owner of a business, if you're the owner of an LLC or a sole proprietorship, you don't have to consider yourself an employee of the corporation. This is important because there are some, actually, can we cut for a minute?